Greetings and welcome to another edition of the most powerful platform for truth, bar none, anywhere on social media and on God's green earth. This is your platform for education, liberation, and empowerment. This is the Red Pill Diaries, and I'm your host, Rashid, none other than Rashid. Thank you again for joining us and giving us another hour of your day and another day of your time. We know that time is precious and it is the most precious commodity. So we hope in return for you spending your time with us that we give you an equal or greater return for the time spent. Okay. Shout out to my guy Joel, who's already in the chat. Salute. Also, okay, everybody. Now let's get it. Like he said in the chat. Let me see. Let me go to the chat real quick. Like he said, time for some rant. So let's get it. Shout out to V. Thank you for joining us again on this platform for truth. So today's show, I did this on the spur of the moment because I promised you guys that we'll be doing a show today. All right. So we're going to be talking about everything that's going on. The name of the show is titled Live. The war is expanding. I have been telling you guys that once that genie is out of that bottle, it's going to be nearly impossible to put it back in the bottle. I've been telling you the belligerence and the hubris of American and Western imperialism is at the heights, and it is causing other nations to rise up because they're fed up with this madness, okay? And everywhere you look and everywhere you turn marks the end of this world that we've known it, and this international order that we've grown to know, and the rules-based order. So saying that, we need to find out what's going on. All across Africa, NATO nations on the move. Now, listen, I want to say this real quick because this is very important. All right. This has everything to do with colonization, imperialism, and the promotion of war, destabilization, chaos, because through chaos and division, the colonial powers remain the beneficiaries. Because if I'm arguing with my brother, if I'm fighting with my friend, if I'm suspicious of my neighbor, the outsider can come in and offer prices to that person, to that person, to that person, and to me, which are beneficial to them. And they can keep us at odds with each other by feeding the suspicion, by feeding our anger and our rage through the supplying of weapons and propaganda, while they're extracting the resources at minimum cost and minimum lives to them. This is what we're watching in real time on a global or universal scale. When I think about this, I'm saying to myself, "Oh my God!" The European nations, they're so slick with this. I'm telling you, they're slick with this. Check this out. So whenever they want to deploy to a region, or whenever they want to be covert about the military alliance that they're a part of, you have one go here, one go there, and you'll read in the newspaper, France is deploying such and such here, or Italy is deploying such and such there, or trainers for this military in that country, or the United States is deploying people to help with logistics in this country. All of these nations are part of an entity called NATO. I don't care how you put it out there to the people, they are all screws into the same engine. If you attack Italy, what is that? You attack Germany, you attack Spain, you attack Britain, you attack the United States. Isn't that the Article 5? An attack on one is an attack on all? Is that not right? So what they do when they cover up their mischievous actions and try to put it in such a benevolent way, they'll say, well, France is deploying here. Even though France goes into a territory, causes chaos, extract resources, but France is not the sole beneficiary of the resources that it steals. The European Union and America also are benefit. That's why they carve up regions of the world. And all of them are beneficiaries, and all of them are a leg or an arm or a head or a chest or a torso in that body called NATO. The European Union is the political wing of NATO. Let's get this understood. Almost everybody in the European Union are members of NATO. So they try to mask these things by saying, they don't say, well, NATO is deploying here. Oh, France is doing it. Oh, Spain is doing it. Oh, Italy is doing it. Oh, the UK is doing it. Oh, the United States is doing it. When they're all members of what? A collective security organization brought to you by the United States called the North Atlantic Terrorist Organization, NATO. Right? Facts. Am I speaking facts or what? So you see on the move in North Africa, in the Sahel, you see these same colonial nations that keeping it hush-hush and below the radar, that they're deploying all over there. And while they're doing it, the UK, the US, and other coalition partners are deploying all across the Middle East. This is the MENA region, North Africa, the Middle East and North African region. And now the genie is being pulled out of the bottle through Western hubris and arrogance and imperialism, and it's going to be hard as hell to put it back. Some people may say, well, we can come to a peaceful conclusion of this. Can we? Can we? If this has been festering for 70 years, and the all of the symptoms of what is going on have only metastasized, can there be a negotiated solution when the side that has the advantage and that has had the advantages refuses to acknowledge the atrocities, refuses to acknowledge the occupation, refuses to acknowledge the crimes against humanity, the war crimes, to do what's right? If you are raped by a person, and that person is before the judge, asking the judge to have mercy on him, but the person never acknowledges the victims and never acknowledges the crimes committed against the victims, are they really showing contrition at heart? Are they really sorry for their deeds and actions? Well, if you and I know, we know the answer to that, but if this is applicable to human beings, remember, human beings make up nations that formulate policies, right? So we can apply the same formula to governments, and we come to the same conclusion, that they're not really sorry because they continue to repeat the same thing ad nauseum over and over and over and over and over again, right? So the war is expanding. The United States says, oh, we shot down missiles coming from Yemen to attack Israel, right? Well, first of all, you take that with a little grain of salt, okay? I was thinking about that for a long time. I said, well, how is that even possible? Does Yemen have missiles with that range? And if they've had it in that range, why haven't they used it before to liberate themselves and allowed all these mercenary countries to come in and invade and occupy strategic areas of that area? Or was this a demonstration of a false flag to further ingrain the United States and the Western world into that area, called, quote unquote, aiding Israel, so that they can create more chaos and produce more wars? Because remember, while all of this is going on, this is the main thing that everybody must focus on. The economic barometers of the global economy, outside of the Chinese economic engine, outside of the Russian economic miracle, are all deteriorating. The economic situation in Europe is deteriorating. The economic situation in Canada is deteriorating. The economic situation in New Zealand is deteriorating. In Australia, deteriorating. And in the great old US of A is deteriorating at breakneck speed. And everything that they've tried and everything that they are trying continues to fail. So as Gerald Celente says, when all else fails, they do what? Huh? They take us to war, right? What does it look like going on over there, right? And why? Because they feel the largest employer outside of Walmart is the second largest employer of people in the United States, but the largest employer of people in the United States is the U.S. government. And yet they want to talk about socialism, right? Or the government is taking care of people. What the hell you call that? Huh? And I'm not a socialist, okay? But I'm just saying, We got to call aces, aces, and spades, spades. If the largest supplier of jobs to the American people is the U.S. government, and when the government, when any other government does that, it is called socialism. What do you call this? I'm asking. So again, let me look down here real quick. Shout out to Holly. Shout out to Serious Biz. Musa A. Shout out to the UK. Let's see. Ascended Awakening. Shout out to you too. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. Keep the chat jumping. Keep your conversation going on. Because I'm going to go to the conversation and put them up on the screen, and we're going to discuss on them shortly. Okay, so keep it popping. Now, all of the economic barometers are deteriorating. Homelessness is exploding. Unemployment is exploding. Inflation is exploding. The people's hatred and distrust and animosity towards those who govern them is exploding, and vice versa. So now you got to get a boogeyman so that you can get a reprieve a little bit. Russia is the enemy. China is the enemy. Iran is the enemy. Syria is the enemy. Hezbollah is the enemy. Hamas is the enemy. And notice everywhere across the globe, everybody is the enemy and nobody's on America's doorsteps. And America is the benign one, and she's on everybody's doorsteps. Not with a Bible or a Holy Quran, not with presents and gifts, but with guns, bombs, planes, warships, and radars. But she's benevolent. Everybody else is belligerent, tyrants, regimes, thugs. And they're not on America's doorsteps, threatening to blast them out of their own homeland. But America is on their doorsteps, doing it, putting missiles, missile defense systems, warships, warplanes, not peace ships, not peace planes, not builder-ups, but destroyers of their coasts. And say that China is a threat to peace and security. Russia is a threat to peace and security. Iran is a threat to peace and security. And none of them have bases nowhere near the United States. And guess what? The United States has over 5,000. I know what you're saying. Oh, they have only 800. 800 is a lot. Some say 1,000. That's a lot. That's a lot of them. But I remember when they added up, before the congressional committee, and this was a few years ago, they counted up all of the bases, the logistical hubs, the training centers, and all of this stuff. And one of the people said over 5,000. They didn't say 5,000. They said over 5,000. I remember that clearly. Over 5,000. But they don't get that because they're not specified as military bases. But it's over 5,000. And America has to borrow. She has to put debt on the backs of your children and your children's children. Matter of fact, let me see this real quick. My microphone, let me stand this up a little bit. And your children's children's children to try to maintain. She is antagonizing everybody. The West is antagonizing everybody. Listen, let's think for a minute, okay? Let's use rational common sense for a second. If my finances are not up to par, right? And I'm needing loans from people to at least give me a breathing room so I can find out a way to get my get back and try to make some money so that I can pay off these creditors, keep my house in order, and live within my means. I'm not going to be out there threatening and antagonizing the lenders that are willing to lend and fund my lifestyle. That's insanity. And yet this is what the U.S. and the West does, and they think it's rational. Bizarro world. When up is down, down is up, in is out, and out is in. That's what they do. Bizarro world. So, I want to go to something real quick. Where is it? Let's go. And you don't think all of this stuff has something to do with Palestine, with Israel and all of this stuff? As America loses her footing, she's becoming more and more desperate, more and more desperate. So she's lighting a lot of brush fires at other people's doors to try to keep them preoccupied, to buy just a little more time for the empire to come up with a plan to remedy the last fallout from her last plan. So she has all of these things going on Russia's doorsteps, on Iran's doorsteps, in Iraq, in Syria, in Latin America, all across Africa, and on China's border, right? She's doing all of that, lighting these brush fires. And now we see them smoldering and smoldering, and we see them about to go into a 4 or 5 alarm fire because the people are no longer willing to accept the disrespect and the outright contempt that the Western world continues to show for independence, for sovereignty, for human rights. Think about this as we talk on this. Who is the greatest trumpeter before the cameras of human rights? And who will sanction you in a minute and say that you are the violator of human rights? Huh? Put that in the chat. Chat. Who is the greatest propagandist about human rights and is always pointing the finger at everybody else about human rights? All right. Let me go to the chat real quick and see if I can see it. In here. What in the world? Okay, here we are. So, the U.S., right? That's right. The U.S., that's right. That's what I want to see. The U.S. Okay. Now, let's see if what she says holds any weight. Okay. See, because what we do, we do reality checks. Because if you allow people to say anything and you don't challenge them on what they say, then perception in the West is everything. Reality doesn't matter. It's perception that matters in the West. Right? Baked potato, thanks for you joining us. America for sure. All right. Now, check this out. We talk about human rights. That means the viciousness of the state, the police forces, and I'm not saying all police force, all of them are like that. Don't get it wrong. A lot of people, oh, the police are not like that. Yeah, okay, whatever. You're entitled to what you say. I'm not gonna go into that at this moment. I'm saying something to make a point, okay? All right. Now, the United Nations already passed a resolution. Look at me, 200 and some nations passed a resolution condemning America's treatment of minorities in America. They already go look at it. I'm not lying. They passed it a year or two ago. I'm not lying. Talking about how they constantly violate the human rights of black people, and then some brown people, and some yellow people, and some red people, and some poor white people. Go look at it. It's in the UN. I'm not making this stuff up. Now look, check this out. America, 320 million people, makes up 5% of the population of the planet Earth, 5, and holds 25% of the prison population of the planet Earth. Tell me who is in violation of human rights? Tell me. How can you even justify that? Huh? And why did the prisons stop being ran by the states and the governments, and now they are almost all exclusively profit-based organizations where judges have been caught outright ignoring laws and the rights of the civilians and sending people into prison? And they call it a prison pipeline where the judges get kicked back, the DAs get kickbacks, and the prisons have to stay at a maximum of so many people. That's not a violation of human rights. That's not a violation of international law. These are not crimes against humanity. These don't warrant international sanctions. How can you point the finger at nations around the world when you are housing 25% of the total population of prisoners in the entire world, and then you want to point the finger at Saudi Arabia? You want to point the finger at Yemen. You want to point the finger at Russia, at China. Oh, China in the Uyghurs, and China in this. And you're holding way more prisoners than all of them combined. Make that make sense? The hypocrisy and the hubris of the empire is astonishing to the eyes. You understand? All right? Oh, yeah. And Holly says the school to prison platform. That's right. Where they purposely engineer situations where children have no outlets. So they're forced to choose between drugs or going into the military or the bad environment that they're in. They have no outlets. And then from there, they go straight to prison. And they keep pumping them into prison so that these big corporations can make money. And then the senators and the congressmen and women, they get their kickbacks. The judges, they get their kickbacks. The state attorneys, they get their kickbacks. And this is just. You believe that this is just? And this is not a violation of human rights. Stop this foolishness. Just stop this. All the way stop this. I mean, all the way stop this. Please, just stop this all the way. It's too much like foolishness. You know, I say we call it ace of spade, ace and a spade. All right, look what Serious Beer says. It's most definitely such a sad, disgusting truth. Hashtag Rashid. That's right. And Holly says, remember, Malcolm X wanted to take the U.S. to the UN. You know what that's like? He might have wanted to, but guess what? The United States run the UN. If Russia, look what just happened the other day. Russia authored a bill for a complete and immediate cessation of violence and a move to peace and negotiations. It was the United States, the one who's advocating peace all over the world, that outright shot down Russia's resolution to stop the violence. Isn't that something? Russia authored a bill to stop the violence immediately. And the United States said there will be no a push to stop Israel's military operation. Israel has the right to defend herself. Doesn't that sound familiar? Didn't they don't say that? And when they bombed Libya to the smithereens, when Libya, it says Odyssey. Hold on one second. Something just popped up. Says, we're having trouble streaming to your destination. Is it possible the stream was ended or deleted on the destination? Blah, 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 blah. No. It said Odyssey was cut off live. I'll have to check that after the show. I told you guys. I told you. But anyway, so America runs the UN. Who do you think brought it into being? Huh? I need to give you guys another lesson on the true intentions of the Security Council and why the Security Council is it built up and comprised in that way. And maybe on another episode, I'll talk to you about Shanghai Chek and Mao Zedong and how China got a seat on the Security Council by accident. By accident, okay? But it wasn't never meant for that, okay? Maybe we'll talk about that. And you can go check the historical records to see whether or not I'm telling you the truth on these matters. Everything that I bring before you on this platform, I ask you not to just take my word, but to do your research and see, because so many people lie. So many people have ulterior motives, and so many people embellish so many things to promote their agenda, their propaganda, and their slanted views. And what I want you to do is hold me to account like I'm trying to hold other people to account. That is the only way that we can make sure that people are on their P's and Q's and people are doing what they're supposed to do. All right, Rashid, I see you just sent me a message. I see it. I'll get to it in just a second. I can't see you in the booth at this moment. All I see right now is your name at the bottom. I saw when it popped in, and I saw it kick you off twice when you came through. I saw that. Your name is up, but your picture is not. So as soon as I get clarity on your picture, I'll put you up. I can't put you up without your picture in there. If you can see me, I can't put you up with just the name up there, okay? Maybe if you had your logo up, I would do that. But it's like not fully buffering in or something like that, I guess. But I see you. Give it a minute. Don't get out the booth. Don't get frustrated. You know how they do. I'm gonna bring you in. So listen. Let's see. Joel says, I don't care how many diplomatic efforts are adequate for peace. The true biblical Israelites are not back in their land, so forget about peace there. There will not be peace. there will not be peace. Listen to me good. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not saying this to piss anybody off. Okay? I'm saying this because these are rational things. Okay, let's take what Joel says, okay? And he has some kind of idea. Now, Rashid Face went in and went out. He went in and went out. They're messing with the Odyssey stream right now. They cut me off Odyssey right now. They're messing with Rashid right now. Anyway, we'll bring him in just a second, though. These people are a trip, bro. I'm telling you, they're a trip. Anyway, and something told me to stream exclusively to Rumble today. Something told me to do that. And I did not do it, did not listen to my first thought. But I'm going to bring Rashid in a couple minutes. I see him now. But it's not super clear, but I see him. I'm going to bring him in a second. But I want to address something, then I'll bring him in. On this thing about not having peace. I want for a minute for everybody here, for just a minute. Let's and I'm not talking about literally, dude. I'm just saying for just a second, close your eyes. Forget that you're a Muslim. Forget that you're a Christian. Forget that you're a Jew. Forget whatever religious denomination you are. Forget that you're any color. For one moment, let all of that just seep out of your mind just for 1 minute. And let's just use common sense. Let's use reason, okay? This is what I want for you. Because a lot of times color blurs the line, religion blurs the line, culture blurs the line, and all that stuff. So for one moment in time, just for these next few minutes, as I talk to you for a second, for a minute, let all of that go for 1 second, and let's just deal with the reality and what would happen if you were in this position. If I came into your house, if I was fleeing oppressors, I'm in the state of Florida, okay? If I was fleeing Rashid in the state of California, right? And you welcomed me into your home, right? I'm a refugee. And immediately when I get into your home, me and my family start plotting to take your home from you, your land from you. And then we finally get aid from people that backed us, and they gave us the arms and the wherewithal to take your house and take your land and subjugate you and put you and your family out there in part of the barn. And we regulated the times that you can come out the barns, the times that you can go in. We regulated the jobs that you can have and the jobs you couldn't have. And for 70 years, we destroyed you, right? Listen to me good. And you have patrolled us, and every time we've asked for peace, we were even willing for a negotiated settlement. I mean, you were even willing for a negotiated settlement to say, listen, man, this has been going on so long. I'll give you 2 of these 30 acres that I have, but just return the other 30 acres. And each time I come up with some scheme to maintain the whole thing and to keep you under my thumb. Now, I do that to you. I've done it to you. I've done it to your children. I've done it to your children's children. And I've done it to your children's children's children. Okay? Did I show any intention that I truly desired a negotiated settlement? On top of that, let's think of this. Not only have I not shown you a desire for a negotiated settlement, I've shown total contempt for your issues, your needs, your thoughts, and the reality of your situation. So, that being said, you've seen me pillage, rape, rob, kill, and occupy you, your family, and your land. Would you negotiate giving part of your land away to me? I'm asking you this. Forget Muslims, forget Christians, forget Jews, forget black, white, brown, red, yellow. For 1 minute, get outside of all of that and tell me common sense. Would you believe anything I say? Would you negotiate with me? And would you be willing to, after I've done all that and continue to do that, and then I use the media to demonize you and make the world think that you're a terrorist in your own land that I took from you? Would you be willing to carve up your land that your great grandfather and mother gave to you? Huh? I'm asking. I'm asking you this. Perseverance Chameleon says, let me see. Love your show. So informative. Thank you so much. I'm trying to wait for Rashid picture to come back up again, and I'm gonna bring him in. They do all kind of things with me and Rashid on here. It's Rashid and Rashid. Joel Bradford says, Joel, I said Brad, okay, we all right. Joel says, love, oppression makes a wise man angry. Bingo. 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 Let's see. JC 4791 says the Korean War was the jump off point for the U.S. destabilization policy and controlling resources. Have you looked into the South Korean Truth and Reconciliation Commission on U.S. war crimes? Well, that wasn't the jump off point. That was one of the things. America has prosecuted and persecuted so many wars. And every one has been a war of dominance. Not that she needed to, it's just that she wanted to exercise dominance as a message to anybody who may buck up against her dominance. Okay? Let's go here. I see you, Rashid. I'm about to bring you in. I see. Oh, his picture is up. Hey, Rashid, they have you up except for your face. They have your chest up. Your chest is up, but your face is not up. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let me see if I can. It says, Perseverance Chameleon says, the horrible truth is that Israel took the settlement because the Palestinian people could not defend their territory from the British Empire first. Listen, you said a mouthful there. Let me bring Rashid in. I see his face now. How's it going today, Rashid? Man, they're messing with the show.
I can't get on the computer, so I'm back on my cell phone.
Hey, they're tripping. Hey, they cut our feed off on Rumble. I'm not on Rumble, but on Odyssey just a few minutes ago, live on air. A live feed cut. They shut the show down for a second.
I guess you would discussing a topic that was stepping on their toes.
I want to send a shout out to the. Hold on 1 second. I want to send a shout out to the people. I should have said that at the beginning of the show. I want to send a shout out to the people who are watching live on Rumble. Thank you all. We really, really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Rashid.
I was watching some mainstream news media, and I thought I was watching Israel news up there, straight from television, because the American news media and they news media is the same guy. I was listening to you talking about the how Israel and came and stole their land. Well, let's tell the truth. The people of Europe have done that. They're all indigenous people, right? Mm-hmm. Israel is not doing no more than what America did.
Right.
Israel is not doing no more than what the South Africans did. The people that stole Australia. The people that stole New Guinea. The people that went over there throughout Asia and stuff and stole. The people that stole Hawaii. This is a trait of the Europeans, is to go and steal people's land,
dominate,
and then call them criminals after you done stolen land. Well, I ain't stole nobody's land. Well, your parents did. How did you get what you have now if they didn't do what they did? Would you have America? Would you have Canada? Would you have Mexico? Would you have Brazil? Would you have Argentina? This is a European trait, to steal and murder.
You know,
isn't that the truth? Come on, let's call a spade a spade. That's exactly what they're doing. And I think I've heard Netanyahu say that he's doing what America did to the natives. What? Netanyahu's an American. Wasn't he born in America, New York City?
Yeah.
So he got the same idea in his mind that the rest of them had. They're having problems in Australia because with the Aborigines, that they want their land back. Well, if they gave their land back, then the people of Australia would have to go back home, right? So this is nothing different or new for the man of Europe. This is just his modus of operandi.
You
And
know,
if somebody want to get mad at that, well, facts are the facts.
you said something very heavy, Raj. Well, everything you said there, but you said something about the news. I want to get back to that for a minute. I hear very well, and how when you're looking at the news, you think it's coming straight out of Tel Aviv, right? And
Yeah.
it's ironic you said that. I was having coffee with my mom earlier today, right? And we're watching the news, and I noticed. I told my mom, I said, I want you to see every time they talk about the situation that's going on over there, they'll say Israel at war, Israel fighting terror, Israel, never acknowledging the gripes of the Palestinians. They want to erase the history what led up to this. And this is what I continue to say. This stuff did not happen in a vacuum. This is what I want everybody to understand. They want you to believe that this happened on October the 7th. This did not happen on October the 7th. It happened when the Western world took a people from Europe and imposed them on people in Palestine and made the Palestinians refugees in their own land, and then sent whoever wouldn't accept it to flight out of their own land. Do you know Syria has a Palestinian refugee camp? Lebanon has a Palestinian refugee camp. Jordan has I think it's more Palestinians in Jordan than there's Jordanians in Jordan. Iraq has a Palestinian refugee camp because the people were forced to flee, because these people who are fleeing were the same people who held out their hands for these new people who arrived there and took their land. Scott Ritter did such a beautiful job in one of the shows a few days ago, and he described what actually took place when these people that were displaced came to Palestine, and how they started murdering and killing the very people who held their hand out to them to say, okay, we'll allow you to stay here. And then they got together and they took the
Once
entire
again,
land.
once again, didn't he do that to the American Indians?
Yeah.
They held out their hand, and how did they repay them? They killed them all off and stole their land. It's the same thing.
Shout out to Serious Biz. Thank you, man. Thank you. This quickly became my go-to channel of truth, dignity, and righteousness. Shout out. We really appreciate that. Shout out to you, man. Listen, I want to say this. You know, we call an ace a ace and a spade a spade. That's what got us the channel deleted twice. I said deleted. I didn't just say suspended. I said deleted. Also, we have to be very careful of what we say, because we've already been warned that if we say certain key words or we present certain key facts, that would cause for immediate deletion of this platform. So we have to dance around a couple.
Wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute. Not in the home of the free press.
Yeah.
Isn't that something they used to always berate the Soviet Union for?
Yeah.
State-run media. If you don't say what they want, they'll throw you off the air and kick you in, put you in jail. What? Look like the worm done turned up. Mm-hmm. If you say something they don't like, they throw you off or want to just go look at what's in it. Julian Assange. That's what happens if you speak the truth to power. You get put in jail.
What is going on right here? Hell, you still there? Chris, I see your what is going on? They are really true at the RePill Diaries. Let's be careful not to generalize. No, we're speaking. Listen, we know that it does not apply to everybody. We know that, okay? Just like when I started talking about, and I was going at certain black people the other day, and how when they get these degrees, they want to cry about white people not giving them jobs, right? When the degree itself stipulates that you are qualified in that arena. If you are qualified in that arena, make the job for yourself. All right. So we call it. We're not like saying everybody this and this. You understand what I'm saying, Chris? So but I get what you're saying. Okay, now let's see what Perseverance says. All right, here we go. Everywhere the Europeans went, they criminalized the indigenous people, took their land, and then left their bureaucracy in the form of Indians in the Caribbean and Africa, and Israel and Arabia. True. Now let me go to something you said on Perseverance. Let's go back to something. In the West. Oh, I see Rashid I see him back in there. I see him. I'm gonna bring him back up. But let me give you this. In the West, all you hear about is Islamic extremism, right? And you hear about terrorism and Muslims, and right. I want to give you this because this is something that everybody needs to hear. They talk about how corrupt the Saudis are, and they talk about the corruption of all of these sheikhs, but they don't tell you that all of these sheikhs were put into power by France, Britain, the United States. All of them. The House of Saud, who are not, listen to me good, who are not Muslim, even though they pretend to be, they are not. They have their direct ties to the Jewish people, right? Were imposed upon Arabia by the Brits, the French, and the United States. These guys were bandits and thieves, robbing and raping people in the desert. Did you know that? And they struck a deal with London, DC, and Paris. And that's how they became, it went from Arabia. You remember the book, Lawrence of Arabia? There was never a book called Lawrence of Saudi Arabia, was it? The US, Britain, and France allowed them people to impose their name on an entire nation. Saudi Arabia. There's no book called Lawrence of Saudi Arabia. You understand? This is what we're saying. They go and they pillage, they lie, and they steal, and they don't tell you the full picture of what's going on. So they demonize this over here, and what they do, they cause trouble, cause division, cause static, cause war, then they extricate themselves from it and act innocent as if they had nothing to do with it, when if you do an in-depth study and analysis on the situation, you'll see all across the Middle East, all across Africa, all across the Caribbean, all across Latin America, all across Asia, and even all across Europe, they continue to put these policies of divisiveness and imperialism and colonialism, which are racist to the very core, for the benefit of the few at the expense of the many. Nobody talks about it. Absolutely nobody talks about it. So let me bring Rashid in here real quick. Let me see if they're going to kick him out the booth or whatever. Rashid, you there? Hey, Rashid. Okay. All right. So we have shout out. I want to also shout out to Deborah Wise Woman 5555 over in the chat on Rumble. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody for joining us on the chat. Also Michael X is in the building. Shout out. World War II Daughter 7 is in the building. Thank you guys for joining us on another edition of the most powerful platform for truth, bar none, on the planet. Now, let's go to this news real quick. And then when I get back to the screen, because I can't see anything at this moment. So hopefully my chat thing, not chat, but my guest booth allow me to see Rashid. These people are cutting up on the air. And they need to stop this. They don't do this to any other platform like this. They may mess with them a little bit, but you do not see them knocking off my co-host. You do not see them muting my microphone. You do not see them going and freezing the screens and killing the live streams and killing the links to other platforms like they're doing me and my co-host in our show. You don't see them doing other people like this. I wonder why. Okay? But Rashid and I already talked about it. If they kick him off 100 times, I told them to come back 101 times. If they mute me 100 times, they're gonna have to mute me 101 times. If they cut the links 1,000 times, they'll have to do it 1,001 times to keep us from doing what we want to do with the truth. Now, there's an article that just came out today titled, NATO State Threatens to Close Baltic Sea to Russian Ships. Now, I want you to understand what that would mean. See how things are exploding? Remember, This is how things were. The United States was losing in Ukraine. They upped the ante with Moldova. They upped the ante in Moldova. It's Rashid. I see something. Hold on one second. I think that might be. It's something blurry. I see it move. That got to be Rashid. Let me see something. Let me see if I can pull them up on the screen. They are tripping today. Everybody, please be patient with us. Please be patient. I'm trying to bring him up on the screen. It's blurry as hell. Hey, Rashid, go out, wait, go. If you can hear me, go out of the booth, wait 1 minute and come back in and see if the blurriness of you will leave. Go out and come back in. Anyway, let me say this real quick. Man, they are tripping. They are tripping. And no, I don't wear prescription glasses. These are glasses that block the light of the lights, okay? Let's see. Now I want you to know what this entails. To block Russia out of the Baltic Sea is a declaration of war, whether you know this or not. As they lose, they up the ante. They're in Armenia now. They're trying to stoke up stuff in Georgia, and they tried to do it by another color revolution not too long ago. They're all across the Middle East stoking up tension. Now Russia and China are making inroads in Africa. They're over there, and all of a sudden, terrorism is exploding, right? Right? That is going on in the midst of what's going on in Palestine right now. And the United States deploys warships, not to just to the occupied Palestine coast, but they made it their business to say that it was deployed. The second warships were deployed off the coast of Lebanon. Who are they referring to when they say off the coast of Lebanon? They are talking about Iran, Hezbollah. That's what they're talking about. And they're talking about the Syrian armed forces and the leadership of Syria. And now, another hand, they are trying to up the ante by using their minions. Remember that America has full say over NATO. These little small nations do not. I mean, tell the truth? What can Latvia do? And let's just be real. Let's just stop playing around and let's just do it real. What can Latvia do? What can Estonia do? What can any of these small little nations do? I'm asking. What can any of these nations do? Especially vis-a-vis Russia's military and economic power. Do you know what these very same nations import energy? I'm talking about electricity from Russia. Do you know that a lot of their economy depends on Russia sending remittance? Some of their citizens sending remittances from Russia back to their countries. Do you know that? So, with that said, these people do not make statements without the U.S.'s approval. This was a warning shot or something to test the waters to see Russia's reaction to this. But we're going to put it up on the screen and we're going to read it together. Okay? We're going to pull it up on the screen. Give me a second. Let me put it up here real quick. Right here. We're going to pull it up on the screen. Everybody wait. And when Rashid comes back in the booth, we'll bring him back in. But right now, we'll finish this right here. All right? And if they knock him off 1,000 times, Rashid try to get back on 1,001 times. The article says NATO state threatens to close Baltic Sea to Russian ships. Latvia's president has proposed a blockade in response to the Baltic connector pipeline leak. Now, Russia had nothing to do with this. Now, I want you to understand the seriousness of this. These very nations know that it was the United States that blew up Germany's pipelines. They knew this, right? And they didn't utter a word about that. And because of this so-called leak here, they're saying this is a casus belli to try to justify the closing of the Baltic Sea to Russia. Well, how would that be when main Russia is over here and you have over here Kaliningrad? How are you going to manage to close off the Baltic Sea to the Russian Navy? Do you understand what that means and what that entails? That is a direct act of war. not by Latvia, but by all of NATO. Russia would construe that, and rightfully so, as a direct act of war. Right? What did the United States say when they were blockaded, or what did they say? How the Japanese reacted when the United States blockaded oil and gas from them? Huh? It was an act of war. It led to war, right? How do you not think this will lead to war when you have the largest nuclear power on the face of the planet being blockaded? Desperation. This reeks of desperation. Let's go a little further. If Moscow was behind the damage, if was fifths, we'd all be drunk. If. So what he's doing right now, listen to what he's doing. He's not offering any tangible evidence. He's not offering any leads. He's not offering any proof. What he's offering is a line of perception to try to get you to believe that Russia may have done this. You understand? What they call in court is leading the witness, putting false thoughts in their head, leading them down the wrong road. That's what he's doing. When the sentence starts off, if Moscow was behind the damage. Well, what if the U.S. was behind the damage? Would you block off the Baltic to the U.S.? What if China was behind the damage? Would you do the same to China, who you rely on, who Europe relies on as its largest trade partner? So we have all of these ifs. That's why if ifs was fifths, we'd all be drunk. If Moscow was behind the damage to the Finland-Estonia gas pipeline, NATO should seriously consider closing the Baltic Sea to Russian shipping. Latvian President Edgars Rinkēvičs has said. Now, they have been proposing this for years. They have already made plans and said that they intend on making the Baltic Sea a NATO lake. They've been saying that for years. So out of the blue, this happens, and now they're proposing to do that. And here's the crazy thing about this. None of these leaders sit back and say, hold on a second. Russia is outproducing us in military armaments. They're outgunning us in every field. They've destroyed 3 proxy NATO armies in Ukraine and are about to demolish a 4th one. They still haven't even committed more than 10% of their armed forces, and we're out of weapons, we're out of guns, we're out of ammo, we're out of missiles. How in the hell can we even try to implement this? The first thing that we would have to do is use nukes. Well, guess who has the most nukes? Russia does. So this is a suicidal path, suicidal thinking. I told you guys that they was crazy as hell. I told you this. Before we go further, I want you to all, and I can't see the booth at this moment, but I'm going to bring Rashid in a second. When I'm reading the articles, I want Rashid to know this. When I'm reading the articles, the article pops up over this. So I can't see in the booth until I move the article back, okay? So if you're in the booth, stay in the booth, all right? Anybody that has a show knows what I'm talking about. The article pops up. You know what I'm talking about. So listen, America and Europe talks about the search for life in the universe. And they're sending satellites out of space. They're trying to go into intergalactic space to find life, right? What do you think the life on other planets think when they see the way that these people are carrying on? Do you think that they want them to discover them? Do you think that they want them to be befriended by these people who are risking the very lives of everybody on their own planet for political gain, through corruption, because they want to be leaders? They want to hold power at all costs. They want to dominate. They want to impose their thinking. This is almost in the same light as Lucifer, right? Lucifer in your book, in the Bible. How Lucifer was an angel of light, right? That's what American NATO is. They always present themselves as benign, benevolent, beneficent. how everything that they do is justified. That's what they do. And they wanted to make a kingdom like unto what? What did Lucifer want to do? He wanted to make a kingdom like unto the Most High. Well, the Most High demands that everybody, every man, woman, child, cow, grasshopper, bird, everything in existence must submit to what he created them like, right? Must submit to the very laws of creation, must submit to him. Look at the policies that they continue to try to impose on everybody at the cost of blowing the planet up. If you can't see that these people are Lucifer, I don't know what to tell you. Lucifer is not some spirit with wings on his back. You're looking at him in NATO councils. You listen to him in Washington, D.C., in Berlin, in Paris, in London, all of these people. Their policies, when you want to know who a person is, look at the history that they write. Look at the path that they blaze. And then do a comparative analysis to come up with a sound conclusion. So when you make your final judgment, you can be sure that that judgment is sound. Okay? Oh, man, we're going to read a little bit more. Oh, Rashid, let me go back to this. I'm in the booth with Rashid. Is out. I see his name up there. Come. Hold on one second, everybody. I got to say this. I think the way I've been handling this has been wrong. So I'm going to say to YouTube, and I'm going to say to StreamYard, in all humbleness, I apologize for the way I've been coming at you guys. I would ask you to allow my co-host to be able to get on the platform also. I want to ask you all humbly to stop cutting him off, kicking him out the booth, stop muting my microphone, and please stop cutting the links to the other platforms. I would really appreciate that. And that's from my heart to your ears. Please do that. Okay. Now I got to highlight something, finish reading this. Then I'll try to bring Rashid in this because I see his name up there, but they're not putting his picture up. I wish I could show you guys this. Then they have his name up. I see his shirt. It goes right to here and nothing but blurriness right here. Okay. So, and this takes away from the show when they're doing this because there's so many other issues that we could address. They tripping with this. Let me see something. But Rashid, when I do bring you in, cut up, bro. I mean, go ahead on. We can't say those certain things, but you can address some of these war issues and all that stuff because I'm going to let you have the floor for a little bit since every time you get the floor, they kick you out the dance room. All right. So, here we are. Let me highlight something here. Hold on one second, everybody. I have to highlight. Ooh. All right, here we are. Thank you, Perseverance Chameleon. Thank you so much. That's a £5 or €5 super. I think that's a pound. £5 super chat. Thank you so much. World War II. Oh my God, Ken Chow is in the building. What's up, my guy? Eco Bella's in the building. All right. World War II daughter 7 is in the building, and thank you for your super chat. A $10 super chat for World War II daughter 7. Thank you so much. Michael X, you tripping. What am I tripping about? What am I tripping about? Put that in the chat. What am I tripping about? I don't get that. So, put that in the chat and maybe I can address you. Okay. So I'll put that on the screen. I'll give you a few minutes to explain what you're talking about. Let me go back to this article real quick. And then by the time I get back, I'll see his comment up there. Then I can address him. It says, I would say that if we see incidents of this kind, then in my understanding, NATO should simply close the Baltic Sea to shipping. Now stop right there. How in the world can NATO do that? They act like, see, in the mind of the lunatic, in the mind of the exceptionalist, I can do everything. I can do everything. Forget the costs. We'll deal with the costs later. I can print up money. I can deficit spend. I can do this. I can do that at the cost of everybody else. Right? It says this can be done, he says. I asked him how. Russia has a powerful navy too. And now they don't even need a navy. They can put all of NATO's ships in danger with these new types of weapons and missiles that they have. Somebody should tap him on the shoulder and tell him to shut his pothole and speak as he weighs. He is not a heavyweight, so he should speak as a featherweight. Okay? It says in an interview with the Latvian channel TV3 on Thursday evening, his office later clarified he specifically meant Russian shipping, not all maritime traffic. Reykjavik noted that this has not been discussed within NATO because the investigation into the Baltic connector incident is still ongoing, but that a naval blockade is one of the options on the table. Of course, it is also a question of a whole series of international law of the sea, he added. Under international law, a naval blockade is considered an act of war. So now, he admits to what I told you from the jump. From the jump. Now, I see Rashid in the building, so I'm going to bring him in, and I'm going to let him address this, okay? He's clear. Rashid, you're back, brother. You better talk before they kick you off there again.
You can't. What you're saying is a flea talking about going to war with an elephant. That's what that is. This little flea is talking big and bad, and the elephant eyebrow is more than. Well, we should do this to Russia. Well, can you back up anything? Well, I didn't say I was gonna back it up. Big brother, can you back it up? It tickles me. These little bitty midgets, these Oompa Loompas running around hollering and screaming what they gonna do. And the Shaquille O'Neal makes 5 or 6 of them at once. It's ridiculous with the foolishness. But you can see that they're really not serious about doing none of this stuff.
Speak up.
Russia, like you said, Russia is probably military. It's just into of what she used to be. Now we can't fight one war. And what they're doing is they're going to lead themselves down a path. What's different now than it was in the past is the whole Muslim world is galvanized.
Yeah.
Towards them. It could.
Is it me or is the brother freezing?
And in Syria. Can you hear me? No, you the one that got free. Every few seconds they freeze both of us. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. What? Man, man, yo, stream, yo, you tripping now. You really tripping now. You are really tripping now. Let me see something. Let me stop this screen and go back to the main one. They are really stripping now. So I also want to say, hey, have a good night. Call me when you get settled in, okay? My wife just leaving for work, so I also want to go to the chat over in Rumble and put up a few things. I don't think I highlighted, but I can say it. Deborah Wise Woman 5555 saying they're trying to destabilize the BRICS. Yeah, I talked about that on a previous show, and that's why they continue to pry. They're trying to break the BRICS because they feel that that in itself threatens dollar hegemony and Western power. Let's go down. Let's see. Kid Brunks says try Rumble. F screw tube. I'm in the chat with I'm engaging in the chat in Rumble, and I'm engaging in the chat in StreamYard, and I'm engaging in the chat and YouTube. So I want you to all to forgive me. I'm trying to get everybody, but that you said F screw tube. Oh my God, that was a good one. Rashid, I hope you're back in the building again soon. Let's see. And JC 4791 says, V said, that's what I was laughing at, V. When Rashid said this, I was laughing at that too. Let me put it up here. That Oompa Loompas, I was laughing. That's what made me start laughing hard. Let's see. JC says, and when was the last time that we won a war? I believe it was Grenada. I believe that was the last one, the little small tiny island that we went in and just did that just to show power. Let's see. He says, I just can't get over that. V, you and I were laughing at the same thing when Rashid called them Oompa Loompas. That started me laughing my behind off, just like when you were laughing about it. I thought that was hilarious. Rashid called them little Oompa Loompas. But I see Rashid back in the booth. I'm gonna bring him in just a second, but I gotta read a couple more things up here. It says, hey Rashid, if you're listening, JC 4791 says you should reset your modem or your router in your house. He's saying this in the chat. Let me put it up here. All right. Ecobella says USA never wins wars. They just destroy everything and then cut and run. Well, guess what? That's a good segue for me to bring Rashid back on to address what you just said. So I'm going to leave that up on the screen and let Rashid have edit on this. Go ahead, Rashid. You little Oompa Loompa. You there? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Your mic. We can't hear you. It says your mic is muted on your end. It's on your end. I can't unmute you. It says every time I click on it, this is what it says. Let's see if it'll pop up. Hold on. Say something now. Oh, no. It says can't unmute your guests because they chose to mute themselves. That's what it says up here.
Oh.
Okay, you unmuted now.
I'm clicking on. Okay, what about now?
Yes. Nope. They doing everything they can. Let me try on my end. Hold on, let me try on my end. I can't do it. It's on your end. I can't do it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna screenshot it for you to see. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, as I said, in the next few minutes, they're gonna kick me out. They're gonna kick me out again anyway. I wonder what is so bad that they don't even want me on the air at all.
Hey man, hey, that's what they do to us. So hey, address this comment up at the top.
But as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted that
The floor is yours.
They destroy everything. Well, that's him. He can't help himself to do that. That's it's like a lion roaring. He got to go in and start some trouble. He is the cause of all trouble. He just can't help himself. And so don't get mad when he do it, because that's him. A troublemaker. A troublemaker. He can't help himself.
Yeah. Joel says, I don't think Rashid just moved into his new home. He has excellent Wi-Fi. I don't think his Wi-Fi is bad, because if it was just his Wi-Fi, then my link wouldn't have been cut. Because remember, before he was knocked off, they cut the link to Odyssey, and then my mic got muted a couple times. So it can't be, we're 2,200 miles away from each other. It can't just be his Wi-Fi, because we're not on the same Wi-Fi. All right. But thank you for brainstorming. But let's go into something, Rashid. Let's go back to that about Latvia and how every time America is getting ready to do something, she tries to drop hints that this may be her plan, just to see what kind of reaction that she receives from the person that it's intended to kind of scare. Yeah. Are you? What are they doing? Man, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Anyway, we're going to keep it going. All right. Because if we don't keep it going, we're going to let them win. And we cannot let them win. Okay. We can't let them win. Again, let me go back over to the. All right. Yeah. I'm watching from both Rumble and StreamYard and YouTube. And I'm only on one computer this time. But I put an order in for another computer. So we're good. Again, let's go back to this article. He says, of course, it is. First of all, let's go back one. Rinkovitz noted that this has not been discussed within NATO. Well, if it hadn't been discussed, then why is he talking about it like that then? Why is he talking about it like that? Because the investigation into the Baltic connector incident is still ongoing. Well, if you knew that, why would you preface it with Russia? Why are you pointing the finger at Russia? And why are you trying to lead people down the line of thinking that it is Russia, if it has not even been investigated yet and it has not been discussed with your NATO colleagues? Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but not the butter knife. It says, but that a naval blockade is one of the options on the table. Of course, it is also a question of a whole series of international law of the sea, he added. Under international law, a naval blockade is considered an act of war. Now, let's go to something real quick. Let's go here. Excuse me. According to Wikipedia, the phrase active war means is an action by one country against another with an intention to provoke a war or an action that occurs during a declared war or armed conflict. So, according to Wikipedia's definition of that, right? Listen to this again. The president of Latvia understands that is considered an act of war according to international law. But listen to what the definition says. An action by one country against another with an intention to provoke a war. So there's intent there because he has no evidence that it's Russia, right? The investigation has not even it's just began. So how in the hell can he even be considering it to be Russia, right? So there's an intention there to provoke a war, right? Now, to get an understanding of that, according to the dictionary, the word intention is a noun. It means a thing intended, an aim or plan, purpose, intent, objective, object, goal, target, end. So with this guy talking, we see that the NATO war mongering is at its heights, trying to cower Russia. Man, do you actually look at this? This is absolutely insane. How do you think you're going to punk a nation that has twice as much nuclear weapons than the whole of NATO has? I'm asking you this. Is that even rational thinking? Because, yeah, the United States has 4,000 and some nuclear weapons, and Russia has something like 5,000 some nuclear weapons. But Russia has a whole storage facility of tens of thousands of nuclear weapons that they can activate like this. So, and they have the delivery that would catch NATO off guard. So why would you even be thinking or have intentions to provoke a war against the largest nuclear power on the planet? How is that? How is that? So look, again, it says, of course, it is also a question of a whole series of international laws of the sea. He added, under international law, a naval blockade is considered an act of war. So what does this tell us? That they are getting desperate. In this statement in the public media, which they knew would be told internationally, reeks of desperation. And so when we look at the dictionary and we look at the definition of desperation, the word desperation is a noun, and it means a state of despair, typically one which results in rash or extreme behavior. Similar, hopelessness, despair, distress, anguish, pain, agony, torment. So we're seeing America lose. We see NATO lose on every turn, at every corner. And this is causing desperation. So now they're flinging anything up against the wall. And what they're trying to do is trying to make Russia believe that they don't care about their own lives. See, they're backed in the corner and they're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to try to cower Russia. Well, Russia... Okay. Rashid is in the thing. Okay, thank you for texting, because I couldn't see you in there because I was on that article. Let me bring him back in. So Rashid, if you heard what I said, give me your take on this situation with this Latvian president and the statements made, and we know that those are U.S. statements. Go ahead.
One thing you must understand: Russia have a superior air defenses. Russia can shoot down a whole lot of the American missiles, where America don't have no new missiles. Russia's saying it shows psychopathic thinking. Did you see? It shows that these people are not rational thinkers. They think that they can actually pull off a nuclear war and win. If anything, Russia is the one who buffed air defenses. If she was that psychotic, she might be able to save some Russians. But over here in America, well, maybe that's the reason why they got all them underground cities and stuff. The people on the surface are just gone, or else moved to one of them South Pacific islands and live like a king, where everybody else is destroyed. It's the thinking of a madman. That's what that is.
Yeah. And JC 91 says, lies become truth if you say it enough.
Little bitty people over the little midgets, right? And they ain't gonna throw one punch.
Man, what is going on? Come on. Rashid, your sound is going out.
When you turn around the fight, they're looking at their big brother to do the fight. That's all that is.
Here. JC 4791 says, recently the Middle East closed their doors after Biden's speech in Israel. Could be an indication that the Middle East will once again unite since the backstabbing of Libya and Syria. What say you on this? Since they continue to throw you off, I'm going to let you have first take at this, because they might kick your behind off the air again in the middle of your statement. So go ahead, Rashid.
What you have is you have a galvanizing event that's galvanized all of the Muslim world, and even the little puppets and across the region. The wave is coming. You know, the wave of Arab Muslim unity is more so. It might sweep out, and that most of the country, the people are united with what the Palestinians are. Not them so-called governments, because, like as the brother said before, the England put these people in charge, and then America put, and then they made up all of these little bitty countries. You see, you know, before, like you said, it was Arabia. Jordan is a made-up country. Arabia is a made-up. Qatar and all of these are little bitty satellites that they park their military over there to control these people. So these people are united, and what Scott Ritter said, what 2 million Iranians have signed up to go fight Israel, and then Garland Nixon said today that he got a friend that's in Lebanon, as a reporter said, thousands of Iraqi cars are heading to the front against Israel. This thing is going to overwhelm them. You can't fight everybody. Like I heard one commentator say, "What you gonna do when 2 million Shiites come across the border?" You can't nuke them. That's like nuking somebody next door. The blowback gonna kill you too. So he is, he's in a world of trouble. And
They mess with your mic.
And they're not afraid of America. And the Shah, he was against them. You see how he could play one against the middle of the other one? And then as long as you divide it, he rules. It's just like a hand. It's weak when it's like that. But when it do like that, it ain't weak. And that's what's happening right now. How would somebody like to see the people of Europe if some country went over into Europe and started killing up people just because that they were European? They wouldn't like that so well, would they? What do you think about the other people around the world? They see baby people that look like them getting bombed and stuff, and then you run around talking about he got his wife to defend himself. Well, you put him in there. And then you sit up there talking about the UN put him in there. Well, who made the UN? The rules-based orders. Well, whose rules are they? And who made up these rules? None of us made them up. I heard one guy said that if you're going to get mad because somebody was mistreated in Europe, Germany, well, go take the Germans' land. Don't take mine.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
I brought all those points on the show.
The one who did but they had planned this stuff way before. They planned this stuff way before World War I and World War II. What my Rothschild was planning this around the turn of the century. The steel to manipulate.
What's going on? Oh, all right. He kicked out again. Listen, they are really tripping with the mics. They're really tripping with the connection, all of this stuff, everything. But again, I ask you all, why this show? We don't have 300,000 subscribers, even though we know we're supposed to have. We know they suppress the number. It doesn't really matter. But it's because we bring you raw truth, unadulterated truth, straight with no chaser, right in your face, to let the people know that the time is at hand. The time is at hand. Hey, listen, we're in this world that is going out, and it's going out with a bang. I mean, a bang. It's going out with a bang. America has ruled, and I think I'm going to say this to put this on your mind. America has ruled America and the UK, they have ruled so absolutely globally that they are willing to push the world to war. You don't believe me? Who bombed the Kerch Straits Bridge? There was the UK forces. Who supplied weapons to bomb Russian territory? UK, France, and the United States. They feel that their rule is in jeopardy. Who is promoting and pushing war? Remember that it was Biden, on Biden's order, that the United Nations ambassador of the United States voted down a resolution to bring all of the violence in Palestine to a halt. They just did it. So anywhere you look, everywhere you see the hand of Satan, you see the hand of America and the Western world continuing to try to maintain their sway at the cost of the security and the lives of so many people. That's what they're doing, because the time is at hand. We're living in the judgment of America. The fall of America has now come, without a doubt. Everything shows us that this is the fall of America. We're watching the decline of the dollar in real time. We're watching all of the people in America become excited, anxious, angry, mad, because the government is no longer a functioning government that listens to the people, right? And all that they can think about and everything that they can bring to mind is that we're losing the freedoms that we once had and the privileges that we used to enjoy. And this is causing anger to rise up in the midst, which will cause revolution and war within her own borders. This is the fall of America. No doubt about it. Everybody, thank you all for joining us on another episode of the most powerful platform for truth, bar none, anywhere on God's green earth. I am Rashid, and my host, Rashid, continues to get kicked off, but I'm going to say it in his name. We love you if you love peace, but know that our God loves you more and will always love you better. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, stay righteous. Hey, mama, your baby boy loves you more than life. Deuces, everybody. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We really appreciate the time that you shared with us. We're out of here. Peace.